Test, test, test. Welcome to the first episode of the Bulldogs Podcast. This is Coach Bartman here. Most of you guys just recognize me from last year. I was the offense coordinator for the Chicago Cougars with Mix. I had like a 3 to 4 week trial period. Didn't work out. Got released. Talked to Smitty shortly after I was released, saying I was interested. I didn't feel that I was ready last year to jump in at week 4 or week 5 into coaching. I said, I'll let you guys know at the end of the season, the off season, if I wanted to coach. Hit up Smitty. He said he was down. That was after a short stint. That was going to be the offense coordinator for the Pioneers, but Miles had IRL stuff, had to step away, so that didn't work out. So I ended up reaching out to Smitty again, got to talk to him a bit, got to see what my options were teams-wise. The London Bulldogs were on top of my list, just overall team. It has youth, it has veterans, has all above. Ended up picking the Bulldogs, came through, reached out to some of the users on the team. I know, I think there's 16 or 17 of them. 17 users on the team currently, and 6 of them are either inactive or left Discord. But shout out to Tajay, shout out to Clyde, shout out to Jermaine, shout out to Drew, shout out to Taylor, shout out to Seamus, shout out to all of them. They've been sticking around, chatting up in the Discord. Shout out to Eddie Champ. Finally got some time, talked to him about it. Figured out he was in negative reloads, talked to him about it. Hopefully he starts showing up to games. Shout out to the rookies. Shout out to Udo. Progressing pretty good. Still trying to get in contact with the other rookies because I know they do IRL ball and stuff, so I'm not too pressed about it. So we'll see how that goes. But the first topic is the preseason recap. I'm going to go over the preseason, how I schemed up, tested a few playbooks, tested a few things. The talk of the town in week 1 was everybody was like this 4 quarterback system week 1. I was just throwing quarterbacks in left, right, and center, and people were shocked. They saw Drew Brewer in for a fullback. He almost got 2 tutties. Shout out to everybody that was watching. He almost had 2 tutties, but he didn't catch it, and he got tackled. Could have had 2 touchdowns week 1. But week 1 was just a creativity, seeing what I can do, putting people in positions to score. Had a shootout with the Explorers week 1. It was a great showing. Second unit DBs came in, and we just got torched, but we ended up pulling out through the win through week 1. Week 2 against the Snowhawks, it was just really, I wanted to see how good the run game was. Tested a new defensive playbook. It was okay. I didn't think it was going to be that much, but we had a good defensive game against the Snowhawks. Had a good rushing game with Seamus rushing for a lot. And then week 3 against the Gunners, everybody was watching it, thought the Bulldogs were going to lose through the first half, where I think we were down almost 14.5 or close to that. And then we came back and beat them by, I believe, 10 or 13 points. I think it was 37-24 final score of that one. That one had I think we had over 100 yards rushing, and then we had Tajay with I believe a touchdown and an interception. And then week 1 last week, I game planned. I was like, we're facing Geno Gannon. He's currently the reigning MVP. I said we're gonna have to pressure him I was looking at the offensive line of the of the Bulldogs. No, not the Bulldogs. The London Black Knights. And I was like, the offensive line is pretty weak. So I was like, let's force Geno Gannon to get the ball out quick and often and smother that offensive line. And Geno Gannon threw an interception and took a late hit, and he was out for the rest of the game. And then D'Angelo Young, D'Angelo Young, I believe, the backup quarterback for the London Black Knights. Correct me if I get names wrong. This is currently my first full season. Don't really know everybody's names, but I'm trying my best. But we had 9 sacks on them for the rest of the game. Offensively, we had 4 opportunities to get in the red zone to score, but we ended up getting 4 field goals. Defensively, we got a pick 6 with Shaquille Taylor. He had a great game, a sack, interception, like 6 or 7 tackles. Got defensive player of the week in week 1. Defensively, I feel like we have the best defense in the RFL. Do I feel like it's because they're the high overalls or is it because of scheme? By looking at it across the league, do I feel like we have one of the top 5 overall rated defense? Yes. But I've seen higher rated defense in the league end up giving up 400, 500 yards per game this year from the games that premiered and the games I've seen. So we're kind of giving up 230 yards a game currently. And we're doing pretty well sack numbers, pressuring the quarterbacks. Do I want some fumbles and interceptions to have? Surely, but those would come in time. We got a couple of rookies on defense. Russell Shackford from Iowa State that I got a steal in the second round. I can't believe he dropped that far, to be honest with you. He's been pretty good, pretty active, grinding reloads. Not that active in chat or anything, but he's active grinding reloads. I had a talk with had some DM talks with Pecan after I had drafted him and stuff like that. And then we had that late round pick with Xavier Gibbons that I think could end up being the replacement for Gage down the line because we're in the cap issues at the moment. Because we got Jermaine Taylor coming up on a contract year. We got Winkleman coming up on a contract year. We got Floated coming in on a contract year. We had a couple other players that are up on contract years, and we only got so much money. We got Whitehead was resigned this off season for $58 million for 2 years or something like that. It's currently at the ride out his contract. Hopefully his bonus drops off so I can cut him free at the end of the year in the off season. So that frees up some cap. So hopefully I can release him in the off season so I have enough money to re-sign one of these people. But Jermaine Taylor's first on the chopping block, trying to get him re-signed, bring him back long term for our defensive line. With him, Brewer, Russell Shackelford. We got Ben Clark back there as a rotational player. We got Savage as a main piece right now, but it's looking like possibly down the line he might go and then Russell can step in. And then we have Drew Brewer. I talked to him, ended up talking into. I say, Drew, I was like, what do you think about playing the inside this year? And he was like, whatever makes the team win. He's like, yeah, let's do it. 'Cause I had to talk him into it. I was optimistic about it, and I was like inside. I said from a lot of testing this year. I said a lot of pressure comes from the inside this year. The only time really pressure from the outside is either when the quarterback moves in the pocket and then you end up getting a block shit. But a lot of pressure, like pass rush pressure, comes from the inside this year. So I was like, if we get Drew Brewer, Taylor, and then we have Mike Sizemore that we drafted from Texas as a good nose tackle down the line, but he's a developmental piece. Probably not going to see that much playing time this year unless injuries happen. Knock on wood. But we have Julio Gonzalez, a good 3 tech. Only thing I wish was his strength was a little bit higher, but it is what it is. You got to work with what you got. And then we brought in Dwayne Costin, formerly on the Pioneers that signed to him. That was in talks with Miles when I was helping him when he was signing free agents. I was like, this dude's going to be a good veteran rotational plug and play player. He ended up getting Miles ended up signing him to the Pioneers, and I had him on my my waiver wire when they ended up getting cuts coming this year, and he ended up getting cut. I knew I had to get him because I knew he was going to be a good plug and play edge rusher that could get thrown in on rundowns, get good block shed because he has 87 block shed. He's like a good rotational piece. He had good traits on him. Couldn't pass up a good rotational piece, so I had to pick him up. So defensive line wise, we're set. Linebackers were set. Doing a little rotational piece with Sam linebackers coming in as an edge rusher, so you get some more pressure. And so when we do some disguise looks down the line, he's gonna be on the defensive line, but then he's gonna shoot out to the flat. End up probably getting a couple interceptions this year from that. And that ends up pushing having Drew Pascal and I believe it's Santana or Santiago. I could be wrong. Don't have Neon up, so I can't see the names. But it's either Santiago or Santega, our will linebacker that's going to be playing next to Pascal. Then cornerback wise, we got probably the top 2 cornerbacks in the league, and then we end up getting Udo in the draft. I was trying to get a safety first round, but the Huskies sniped my plan A. So I had to go with my plan B. I was like, I see Udo. I saw him with all those reloads. I was like, this is a good outside corner that could play inside and give us flexibility to either throw Lockhart in the I believe it's Lockhart or Tiller in the slot, have Udo on the outside. But he had an amazing week 1 performance. Had I think 4 pass deflections week 1 against the Black Knights. So he's producing well, getting some pass deflections, batting the ball down, covering, good run support. Then we got Kyrie Sims, had a couple big plays in the preseason. Excuse me. Had a couple big plays in the preseason. Had an interception, ended up being I think a cover for either week 1 or week 2 of the preseason with the interception. Couple big plays, and we got Wilder on the other side as another rookie. I see him as a developmental piece, probably a safety that comes in when we go into like a 3-3-5 or a 4-3, ends up playing deep coverage, and then we have Page come down playing slider in the box. So a lot of versatility. Our defense is built because it came in, it was a 4-3. I was like, it's a 4-3. Could we play a 4-3? Yeah, sure. But I feel like it's more of a 3-4 base. Because I molded more into a 3-4. It's like a 3-4-4-3 hybrid defense that I built. Seeing how it plays out last couple weeks. Played pretty well. But offensive wise, Tajay gave him the start, seeing what he can do. Not forcing him into playbooks, forcing him to throw. I'm just putting him in a game manager role at the moment. Not trying to force him in situations that he gets 2 to 3 interceptions. Because I could force him into situations, make him be a gunslinger. But he's been pretty consistent wise. Pretty great build, to be honest. I could see him being quarterback 1 for a couple seasons down the line for the future of the Bulldogs. But Timmy Merritt, currently quarterback 2. Gotta see down the line, if like this season, if we have a rough start offensive wise, and our defense plays super well, but our offense just can't score points down the line. Probably have a talk with Tajay, seeing if what he wants to do, but I'm gonna let Tajay run the season out unless it comes dumpster fire, and we'll see how that goes. But I believe in Tajay. The offensive run wise, that's probably the focus of the year. We got the focus on the run. Limit the turnovers from Tajay. Let the running backs work. Fitzpatrick had amazing preseason. Had amazing game against the Snowhawks. Basically, was the only reason why we beat the Snowhawks was because of Fitzpatrick. We got Whedon, great veteran running back on the team. Had a great season. I believe it was either last year or the year before. He almost had 2,000 yards rushing. Great year. And then we have Vic Cage as a scat back returner. He's currently on a contract year. With the money cap situation, we probably don't have enough money to bring him back if we wanted to, but we'll see how that goes down throughout the year. Wide receiver wise, we got Anthony Connell. Currently currently our top wide receiver on the team, if you don't count Whitehead. I'm currently not starting, but I have him subbed into packages at the moment because I'm trying to get more production out of Clyde Marbury IV and wide receiver Jaheim Devontae. Trying to get them progressed up through the year. Trying to get them up to speed because we got two current upcoming free agents with Wickelman currently on a contract year. And we have Clarence Wilkerson on a contract year. With the cap situation at the moment, it looks like we only can probably re-sign 2 to 3 free agents. So we kind of are in a cap situation. But we'll see how that works out at the end of the year when bonuses drop off and seeing if we can cut Whitehead and hopefully save like 26 million. And that 26 million can go into like one of these players so we can have them next year. Offensive line wise, through the offensive line through the draft, I drafted Anthony Moore from Texas. I thought he was the best tackle coming out of this draft. That might have been a hot take to everybody, but it ended up working out well. He was a 73 overall normal dev. That offensive line for Texas helped Najee Miller have an amazing season, and even had Shady Houston have an amazing season also. Luckily, they didn't end up winning the national championship, but they got far in the playoffs. Excuse me. Offensive line wise, we got Jake Moffitt coming up on a contract year. Currently, this is gonna be his last season on the Bulldogs because he's asking for like 25 mil a year. So we don't have enough cap to bring him back. So he's probably gonna be the last season on the Bulldogs. A lot of we got Philip Rizzo from Florida. Was drafted a couple years back from former Bulldogs head coach Jacob Reed. So we'll see how he plays out. I moved him from center to left guard. And then we have a couple of youth players that are in their mid 20s. So we'll see how that plays out. Maybe look to go offensive line next draft. And defensive wise, we pretty much went over it. But the keys, I feel like Shackford is going to have a breakout year. Do I think he's going to have a better rookie season than the last rookie of the year from last year, Austin Sanders from the Cougars? Do I possibly believe he could have a year like that? Surely. He could have an amazing year and end up winning rookie of the year, and that'd be great. Great for his development, getting up there. We're having Shackford, Brewer, Taylor, and they have Savage and Clark for next year. That'd be amazing defensive front. But with that being said, a lot of views limit possibilities of turnovers, but put Tajay in the best situation that he can succeed with this first year starting. Because he didn't, I believe he only started the last game of the season last year, and he had a pretty good performance. I believe they won the game 49-0. I could be wrong, but I believe that was the final score of the last game of the season for the Bulldogs. Fortunately, they didn't make the playoffs, but they ended up finishing the year 9-8. But this year, Tajay's starting, seeing what he can do develop-wise, not put him in a situation that he fails, but not putting him in a situation that forces him out of what he's good at. If you guys understand what I'm saying, focus on the run, defensive-wise, stop the run, force them to pass, and let our back end of the defense, our DBs and our linebackers to make plays. And seeing how that goes. That being said, let's go over to the game plan. What I thought of what to do to help us prepare for the Tigers in week 2, with this week's game coming out on Thursday, 8 p.m. EST. Another Thursday, 8 p.m. EST. We had one last week that we faced Black Knights that we won 19-10. But we're playing the Tigers. They played the Armadillos last week. I believe they won 27. Let me get this correct real quick. I believe they won 27-13 against the Armadillos. Offensive wise, they had 5 sacks. Kai Cash got sacked 5 times, but he had 2 touchdowns. 17 for 25. Got sacked 5 times, 2 touchdowns. 231 offensive running wise. He had 15 rushes for Sandstorm. Not that many rushes from the backups. Wide receiver wise, rookie Steve McCaskill from Ohio State had 3 for 52. Then Hunter Jones had 3 for 39, 2 for 39. Zane Nasir had 3 for 42, and then 3 for 30 for Carlos Lucen. And then defensive wise, yeah, 2 sacks from Mosley's, 2 sacks for DeMonche, 1 sack for Rucker, other sack from the rookie from Notre Dame, Regis. Interceptions wise, none. Forced fumbles, 2 forced fumbles of the game, one from Demeric Moore, other one from DeMonche. And then defensive touchdown wise, they scored 1 defensive touchdown, 2 offensive touchdowns, and then 2 field goals. And then looking at the box score of the game, it looked like a close game. 17-10 going into half, and then the Tigers just took off on the Armadillos and just beat them by 2 scores. But you look at the box score, it looked like it was the Armadillos' game to win. They outrushed them, outpassed them, out first downed them. But they just had 2 turnovers. That ended up costing them the game, and they had time possession also. But shout out to Roland. I've been watching his podcast. He shouted me out, so I'm gonna shout him out. Just a bad start, bad couple turnovers, but that's what it is. Sometimes you just get the bad luck of turnovers in Madden. It is what it is. But the scheme of the week: make Kai Cash uncomfortable in the pocket, shut down the run game, and make Kai Cash throw the ball to our DBs, and we see how the game goes. That's currently what the game plan to the Tigers. And you guys will see tomorrow night at 8 p.m. EST how the Bulldogs and the Tigers will end up being played, seeing how offensive-wise, seeing what we can do offensively, what I just talked about defensively. Offensive-wise, seeing what Tajay can do offensively, seeing what a run game can do offensively. Can we get first downs? Can we keep ball possession? Can our defense keep them without scoring touchdowns? And can our offense hold the ball long enough to keep us winning the football game? And with that being said, I feel like we have a good opportunity to do that tomorrow night. You guys will find out the outcome. And we will see tomorrow night. Can the Bulldogs get their second win of the season and push them to 2-0? Or will the Tampa Bay Tigers upset us like they upset Roland last week, getting a couple turnovers and just screeching the game away from the Armadillos? And will they do it to the London Bulldogs? We will find out. But being the almost end of the podcast, a couple stuff I want to go over. Shout out to all the people in the Discord. Shout out to Tajay. Been talking to him, seeing what he asked me if he want because he did he did graphics for Reed, and he wanted to see if he can do graphics for me. I said shout out to him, let him do it. We had the captain patches or captain helmet patches that I posted on Instagram. If you guys didn't see that, and seeing what else he can do, I just made this little graphic for the podcast. Kind of had an inspiration from the team captain photos, so I just made one from for the podcast. Let me guys know how you guys like this and stuff like that. But we will see how the London Bulldogs take on the Tampa Bay Tigers tomorrow night, 8 p.m. EST. Can the offense of the Bulldogs get their first touchdown of the year? Last week we had 4 field goals. See how this week goes, seeing if we can get offense a touchdown, seeing if our defense stays consistent, seeing if the rookies can have a little spark in the offense, seeing if the second-year pros, the rookies from last year, seeing if they can get some looks in the offense this season, seeing if they can get some looks, seeing if they can develop, being the future of the Bulldogs, seeing how the offensive line holds up when we end up facing teams that have a better defensive line, seeing how Tajay reacts to it defensive-wise. Can we keep the pressure and keep the lead in sacks, being the most teams with the most sacks on the defensive side? Seeing if we can keep our points allowed down. Like we had in week 1, we only had 10 points allowed. Seeing if we can keep that down. Seeing if we can get Drew Brewer to keep attacking through the middle. Seeing if Jermaine Taylor can do the same. Seeing if Shane Masters, Drew Pascal, and Ronnie Santega can keep the linebacker core down pat. Seeing if Udo can keep playing his amazing ball he had week 1 and week 2 against the Tigers, playing him on the outside with Tiller on the inside in the slot. Seeing what Norris can do at the free safety spot when he's formerly a cornerback, seeing what he can do. From last season he was cornerback, but this year we moved him up to free safety, seeing his range with the speed, his height, with his agility, with this change of direction. Seeing what he can do at free safety. And then having Kyrie Sims and Rico, Andre, Richey, seeing what they can do in sub packages, getting subbed in certain spots. Seeing what Trey Simmons can do. He's coming off of his contract year. Not sure if we'll bring him back. He had a great preseason, had a great interception. Great pass deflection. Couple plays that he jumped, but he couldn't keep the interception. Seeing how that plays. Seeing how Marco Wilder from Oregon, seeing how he meshes in with their safety core as strong safety, seeing how he can play, how his skill set can help our defense. Defensive, special teams wise, seeing what Vic Cage can work back there with Xavier Gibbons. Xavier Gibbons had a kick return touchdown week 1 of the preseason, seeing if he can get another one in the regular season. Michael Flota, seeing if the first round kicker from a couple drafts back from doing some doing some deep dives into the history of the RFL, being only one year fan, currently the head coach of the London Bulldogs, currently a first round kicker coming up on a contract year. Had 4 field goals last week, seeing if he can stay consistent kicking field goals if our offense stays inconsistent with Tajay Gotti. And then we have a couple players on the practice squad. We had Tajay Parkey and Malcolm Love. 2 pieces I could see down the line next year could fight it out for quarterback 2. Parkey had amazing preseason. I think he had 2 rushing touchdowns and a passing touchdown. Or I could be wrong. It might be just 2 rushing touchdowns. Played pretty good in the pocket presence. I saw some rushers, rushed out, got 2 rushing touchdowns. Inside the red zone, couple of free agent pickups, UDFAs hit the practice squad from Penn State. Alvin Bard. Saw him as a great edge in a 3-4. He's got time to develop. He's not ready for any playing time at the moment, but a lot of things take away from week 1. We need to get the offense in a better position to finish in the red zone. Field goals are all good and all, but if we face a team that just scores touchdowns and scores touchdowns and scores touchdowns, and we can't do the same, that's going to be a problem going forward. See how we can scheme correctly, get the offense in good positions to actually finish in the red zone and not take field goals. But at the end of the day, if our defense can play well and we keep scoring field goals and we end up keep getting wins, morale will go up, and then down the line, offense will mesh out. But focus on the run, make them focus on the run. And when you focus on the run, the passes lanes are opened up, and then Tajay can be Tajay and start gunslinging when they start focusing on the run. But this is going to be a great test year for Jermaine Devontae and Clyde Marbury IV. I told them both with this week. I said with the re-sign periods coming up and re-signs of the people that we need to re-sign, said this is a great year. You grind it out, progress your player, because this is your opportunity to take the starting role for next season. If you can grind it out and show that, hey, I'm committed, I'm ready for the opportunity, and seeing what you can make out of it. Because at the moment, we got Stanley Whitehead, great wide receiver, but he's got 84 speed, and you can catch all day, but if you ain't making any separation, you ain't gonna make any plays. And then we got Winkleman and Connell on the 1 and 2 right now. They're gonna be a good 1-2 punch coming up. Seeing how that works out. Streeter and Eddie Champ at tight end, with McDonald basically playing the fullback role at the moment in our offense. Great plays by Eddie Champ. Shout out to Eddie Champ. Currently negative in reloads, but he was inactive for a bit because he had IRL stuff. But I talked to him. He's gonna start grinding out. Probably not gonna get out of negative reloads, but him being active, him showing around, gives him more opportunities. Seeing what he can do with this player. But he had a great A great step-up game last week with Reggie Schrader getting knocked out of the game. He came in, had, I believe, 5 receptions, had a great play, had a curl route over the middle, caught it, broke one tackle, and fought like 3 defenders for a first down. Amazing play last week. That helped us, I believe, get into field goal range for a field goal. We didn't end up finishing in the red zone. But we'll see how this plays out. Another change that I made coming into week 2 against the Tigers, I moved Jake Moffitt into inside offensive guard, and I moved Demetrius Higgins, our right guard, to left tackle for a more agility, more speed, more change of direction for a tackle on our blind side for the quarterback. Seeing if that helps Tajay get more time in the pocket against the good edge rushers coming on his blind side. So we'll see how that plays out in week 2 against the Tigers. A lot of things to talk about. And a lot of time to talk about it. A little bit of a yap session. But we will see week 2 against the Tampa Bay Tigers. Will the Bulldogs be victorious, or will they end up taking their first loss of the year? Will it be because of their offensive performance? Or will their defense let up and just let a blowout happen like in week 1 when we end up letting I believe the Explorers score almost 40 points on us. But mid 30 point. I think it was 34 points. And I believe we end up winning the game 41-34. I could be wrong, but I believe it was 34-41 we end up winning that game. But a lot of things to look at this year. First year as an RFL head coach. Not very in tune with everything. Still learning how the upgrade system works for players. But I believe in my schemes, believe in how I'm going to develop these players, seeing how put them in situations to make plays, seeing how that works out. But a lot of things. It's going to be a good test year coming up after this week. I believe I go on a 5-week stretch. After this week I go on a 5-week stretch of 5 user coaches. Yeah, I play the Marshals week 3, Dreadnoughts, Cougars, Bulls, Steamers. So from week 3 to week 7, I play basically 3 user head coaches. But the Bulldogs, I don't know if Nick Storm's got full control of the team. I think he's just helping Smitty scheme. So technically it's 5 user head coaches that are actually coaches. I don't know if Nick Storm's actually the coach or he's just an assistant to help. But that's like a 5-week stretch. This is going to be the 5-week stretch of the year. After this week against the Tigers, will basically show what the Bulldogs can do this year. If we can get 5 straight wins against 5 user coaches, that will spark us into like a good position to get a good seeding for the playoffs if we end up getting that 5-win streak. But we will see. But we got to focus on the Tampa Bay Tigers this week, seeing what we can do offensively, seeing what we can do defensively, seeing what we can do to contain Kai Cash, put him in situations that make him uncomfortable, put them in situations that make them throw turnovers, put them in situations that just can't get their offensive going, seeing what we can do against Drake Sandstorm, seeing if we can shut the run down, seeing what we can do, seeing what we can do. And we will figure that out tomorrow night or tonight, because I don't know when I'm going to post this. I might post this Wednesday night, or I might post this Thursday midday before the game comes out. No spoilers for the game, but it was a great game. It was a great game, but we will figure out if the London Bulldogs can shut down the Tampa Bay Tigers or the London Bulldogs. First game, fluke. Was it just because Geno Gannon was out? Is that the reason why the Bulldogs looks good in week 1? Because if you look at week 1, Geno Gannon threw a touchdown and then threw an interception, and then he was out for the game. So if you think about it, if Geno Gannon didn't get injured for the game, would the Bulldogs won week 1? By looking at how the first drive of Geno Gannon was, I feel like if Geno Gannon didn't get injured week 1, we would have lost the game. That's just my hot take, my honest opinion. Geno Gannon, that first drive, that first touchdown pass, I felt just watching that game. I felt if we don't get the pressure on Geno Gannon now, I was like, this game is about to get blown up, and we're just about to get blown out. Just how that first drive went. But after I saw Geno Gannon get knocked out of the game from a late sack on the I believe a late sack on the interception, or it was a drive after he got a late sack or a late hit. He was knocked out of the game. But great, win's a win. That's what I call it. Win's a win. You just gotta take a win, take a win. But we have a couple young rookies. Hopefully they can produce this year, get them up there, because we're gonna have a lot of turnover coming from end of this year into next. A lot of people coming up on contracts, a lot of aging vets that are currently 28, 29 on the roster. They're going to be end up free agents not this year but next, and they're going to end up wanting contracts. So we're going to see what we can do offensive, defensively wise in the draft in the offseason, trades wise, seeing what we can do, seeing what moves we can make so we can help the future of the Bulldogs. Seeing what we can do offensively, seeing what we can do defensively. But we have a lot of things to do. A lot of you can talk your talk, but you got to get the wins, man. You got to get the wins. A lot of things offensive wise. Do I like staying in one book? No, I don't like staying in one book. I like putting us in a book that helps us. Like I said, I like do I like staying in one book? No. Because when you stay in one book and then they know your tendencies in that book so they can scheme against it. So if you come out in multiple books, coming out in a different book, different scheme every week to attack their defense, what are they going to do defensive wise? They're going to try to scheme to your offense the week before or the weeks before. But if you could just keep changing it, but you keep staying consistent, they can't really scheme against your team, and they just have to let their team play as their team. You know what I'm saying? But we will see how this scheme changes, offensive book changes, how it will affect the year, seeing how it will affect game plans of user coaches playing me, seeing how they like it, how they don't like it, seeing if it troubles them maybe. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But I'm still looking, still trying to see if people want to become the coordinator on the team down the line. Did a post, I think, about a month ago. Didn't really have that much attention to it, but hopefully down the line I can get some people to help me, because it's a lot. But when you got people to help around you, it helps makes things go quicker, stuff like that. So if you guys want to help me, either what's got scouting wise, or helping coordinator wise, help scheme wise, helping graphic wise, but I believe Tajay's got it currently at the moment. So I'm gonna have to reach out to him and getting some stuff done. Seeing what he can do, seeing what his turnaround is. I'm currently doing most of the what's called social media posts. They're not as good as most people in the league, but they're okay. Try my best, you know what I'm saying? But things to look out for. Probably do more what's called in depth, trying to figure out more stuff about the league, how the reload buck upgrade system works, how different tiers upgrade different stuff. Because I don't really know all that stuff. I just know you can use 15K for one thing, 25K for another, and then 50K you can upgrade 5 things of what you need, like you can choose what you do, and the other ones are wheel spins. So figure out how that stuff works. Probably reach out to Forbes, seeing have more in-depth detail of, hey, if this person wants to use this tier upgrade. What can he upgrade in that tier? And then put a spreadsheet of stuff like that. Get that down pat, so I get upgrades down pat, stuff like that, and then see how it works out. But it's too early in the year for scouting, to be honest, for next year, because we don't know who's going to be coming back. So it's kind of too early unless you're looking at user players. User players are the only thing that you can really look at scouting wise right now, but see how that goes. But week 1, great defensive game from both sides. We end up taking the lead with the interception, pick 6, 4 field goals against a touchdown and a field goal, 9 sacks, great. Against the okay on one of the lower end offensive lines, of the league. But then we faced the Tigers. That I think Smitty had a talk. Tigers have one of the top end offensive line in the league, not counting the Bulldogs. So we'll see how the defensive line, see if we can get good sack numbers against the Tigers this week, so we can keep the sack leader per team. See if we can pressure the quarterback to make mistakes. Seeing how we can end up being in our division with the reigning runner-up, reload champion, Dublin Celtic Tigers. We got the Boston Bulls, and then we got the reigning MVP of the London Black Knights. So we got a good division. Anyone can take it, in my opinion. But I have good faith that the London Bulldogs can produce every week, get us wins on the win totals, and then push us in the playoffs. Believe in our defense can hold, and our offense can be consistent. That's all I can hope for. So that's probably going to be the episode. First episode. It's probably a yap session. If you guys been this far, put a comment in the description. Put yap session. Me, you little yap. A little yapping. So put comment in the description if you guys were here this long. Put yap in the description on the comment section. Hit the like button. I'm going to have one coming out next week with the recap of week 2 against the Tampa Bay Tigers and what game plan is facing former locker room member in the Cougars, currently the head coach of the Marshals, Darnell Hodge, seeing what we can do against the Marshals. So we'll figure that out next episode. Shout out to everybody watching in. Shout out to everybody that watched this long with me yapping. Hopefully you guys had a entertaining time watching this. If not, it is what it is. Shout out to the Relocation Football League. Shout out to Smitty for letting me coach in the league. And we'll see how the London Bulldogs do this year. This is going to be the end of episode 1. Peace out.